right, people, V&V podcast. Welcome back. Me, Rory Spooner, James Veck, Reece Henley, and we have a very, very, very special guest, Matt Smith. Matt, thank you so much for taking time out of your schedule, bro. Initially, obviously, the most basic question ever to start with. How are you during this lockdown? How are you feeling? You keeping okay?
Yeah, it's just a bit frustrating really at the moment, but I think we're getting close to getting back, so that's obviously positive. But yeah, it's been a tough time for everyone really. So I'm just buzzing to get back soon, really.
Yeah, no, of course.
Is that coming? Is it at that return to football, Matt?
Pardon?
Have you been training or anything like that with the lads, or are you sort of still broken up from everyone else?
No, yeah, we're just doing individual at the moment. So I get a schedule from Charlton, and then I just have to do that daily. It's getting a bit tiresome now, but you got to do it because you want to be as fit as you can when you get back.
Yeah, I was gonna say, bro, how are you staying entertained during the sort of the lockdown? What are you doing specifically?
I think Netflix mainly.
Good shout.
Yeah, Netflix. A bit of the PlayStation occasionally, and just chilling out really. I think it's been good because I haven't been at home for a long time, so it's nice to be at home with the family and stuff.
Yeah, I had a scan through your IG earlier on, obviously just checking out, obviously, what you're into and stuff. Going away, doing my research, a bit of due diligence. I see that, you're big into, well, I say you're big into, but you're following Tekashi 69. I saw that online. And, what do you like to musically? What are you into?
I think my music, it varies, I've got a lot of different type of music, I think I have different times where I listen to different music. So before games, it'll be a lot of upbeat stuff, and then if I'm just chilling in the car on a long drive, then I'll just put on some Drake or some slow hip hop and that, and it just depends on the time and where I am really.
I got you.
Who's got the worst music in the Charlton dressing room?
Who's got the worst? To be fair, there's only one guy that plays the music. It's the captain, Jason Pearce, and his tunes are all right. So I don't actually know anyone else's music. So I think takes it for the lads, I think.
Yeah.
No, doesn't want to drop his captain in any shit there.
No, definitely not.
You mentioned on Netflix as well, Matt, like most of us are binging on that at the moment. What are your sort of go-to shows? Is there anything you'd recommend that you're into at the moment?
I was watching, it's not on Netflix, but I just finished watching Entourage.
Bro, can I just say, you've touched my soul, because Entourage is my number one show of all time. Ari Gold, Vinny, E, all the boys. See, this is me and you gonna do a separate podcast, bro, on TV and music, because Entourage is the one. Have you gone through all the series then, the film?
Yeah, I watched I finished them the other week, so I watched the film and it's a bit disappointing when it's over, to be fair.
Yeah. Well, bro, I actually tweeted Jeremy Piven the other day. I weirdly tweeted him because he's on about doing an Ari Gold spin-off.
Yeah.
Get involved. Tweet him, DM him, bro. You got to make that happen.
Yeah, I should do.
Bro, it's an incredible show. It's surprising a lot of people haven't actually seen it. But I think that's because it was obviously maybe 10 plus years ago and it's not on Netflix.
I heard about it, and then I remember just one time just thought I'm going to whack it on, and then I was just hooked and watched it all. So yeah, it was a really good show. Really enjoyed it.
That's put such a smile on my face that you see that, honestly. But going back to obviously lockdown and obviously looking after yourself. How are Charlton looking after you, physically and sort of mentally? What are they doing for the player welfare?
I think they've been great. There's, as I said, we have for physical, we have a schedule every week which changes weekly, so it's something a bit different every week in terms of distance and how much we do. And there are always people putting in the group chat if anyone has got any problems or need a convo or a chat with anyone. There's loads of people there, and I think it's been important because obviously City as well. City have been there helping me out and giving me messages and giving me little tips on things to do and ways to keep myself entertained. So I think obviously it was a new thing for everyone, but I think both clubs have been fantastic, really. Yeah.
Are you tested regular then for COVID-19? What's the situation with that?
Well, I haven't, because obviously we haven't gone back yet. We haven't had any tests. But I believe that before we go back, everyone's going to get tested. I think it's weekly, so that's obviously good news and that's positive.
Yeah. No doubt. I mean, obviously, looking at the news, it's everywhere. You can't escape it. And the comments from other footballers are quite interesting. Like Aguero came out, he was, a bit iffy about coming back, and Danny Rose, he was a bit iffy about coming back. Troy Deeney was very vocal on it as well.
Yeah.
In terms of the general consensus in the dressing room, is there like a split where some lads are ready to go back and some are still, a bit doubtful, or are you all kind of on the same page?
I think it's very individual. I know that a few lads at Charlton have got pregnant misses, which obviously isn't good, and they want to look after them. But I think it's just individually. Me personally, I just want to get back. If we can do it in a safe environment where we can get this season finished and then we can look at next season, I think that would be good. But as I said, it's different for everyone, and I don't think it's fair to say, just because these players want to go back, we have to go back.
Yeah.
I just think it relies on the individual person and their situation, So it's a difficult one, and I think it's important that whatever the EFL and the Premier League do, it's it's in the right mind of the players. I think that's the best outcome, that everyone agrees that this is the right way to do it.
Yeah, no doubt.
Is your sort of loan contract with Charlton sort of until the end of the season, however it's played, or is it just until sort of June? Or
that was the thing. I had a conversation about it, and obviously because Charlton have a few loan players, and I would assume that it will just be extended if the clubs can agree to just extend it. However long we need to extend it to get the season finished, and obviously that's important. It's the same with contracts as well with players. Obviously, expiring contracts, so it'll be interesting to see. But obviously, no one has the experience of dealing with a situation like this, so I think it's kind of new for everyone, and you've got to trust in the people above you to do the right thing.
Yeah, obviously League Two was being stopped, and the Championship and League One is in like almost like a state of flux. Like there's no real yay or nay right now. Has there been any correspondence from anybody to you as to what's happening with the season? Have they said, okay, Matt, be ready for this date?
They've said to have a date, but we had a date that was meant to be about a week ago, and obviously then that got changed, and there's been loads of different dates that we've been told, prepared to being on this date.
Yeah.
And then with the government guidelines, that's had to been changed. So there's been loads of different dates. As I said, as we see like the rate of infections going down and stuff, I think it's definitely getting closer to when we get back, because football, I think everyone would like to have football back if we can do it safe.
That's an understatement, bro. Let me tell you, that is an understatement. But yeah, I mean, I'm glad you're all right, bro. That's the main thing, first and foremost. Like from a physical and mental standpoint, you're okay. And as much as we want it back, football, it'll happen when it happens, I guess.
Yeah.
You going to be paying much attention to the Bundesliga this weekend, Matt? Have you got a team that you're following? Just for
Rabbi's out there, Rabbi and Ethan as well. So
yeah,
I'll just look over them and I'll have a look.
Bro, Rabbi Matondo, right? I've been trying to DM him to come on the podcast. He's leaving me on red, bro. Like, I'm telling you. Yeah, bro, you need to intervene and have a word. Yeah. Ampadu as well. Like, tell them, man, come on, like, get him. We'll have a chat.
Yeah. I'll speak to him.
It's just nice to have some football back on the screens, isn't it? Obviously, for a lot of us, it's it's a lot of what we enjoy. So when there's literally no football at all, having the Bundesliga back is a godsend, isn't it? So
I suppose as well, for we as Wales fans, this summer not having football is sort of extra bad for us, because obviously qualifying for the Euros, and Matt, which you probably would have been part of the squad. It's sort of extra bitter not having it back. But as a footballer, is that sort of are you sort of, is it better from your mindset it being next summer, or would you rather it have been this summer from your personal form point of view and sort of your getting into the squad?
I think obviously this season's been a difficult season in terms of game time and stuff. So it's I wouldn't mind it if it had been delayed. Obviously the circumstances aren't the best, but obviously it's kind of just gave me, right, I've got to get playing and actually getting a team and do well to give me a better chance, because I might have been in the squad this year, but you obviously don't know now. So I'm just it's kind of just gave me the opportunity to go, you know what, I want to get back playing now. I want to get in the squad, So I think it's in a difficult situation. It's maybe beneficial for me, but I think even if it was this year, it would have been a good tournament anyway.
Yeah. I just wonder, you mentioned on obviously game time, Matt, obviously not being perhaps as much as you'd like at the moment. Obviously with Charlton now, and you were at a sort of spell with QPR before that. Obviously myself and Reece and one of our good friends Sean, we obviously met you out in Holland. Yeah. Is it Enschede, is Reece how you pronounce it?
Yeah, Enschede, yeah.
Obviously we met up with you after the game. Unfortunately, you were suspended at the time, which is a shame. But you enjoyed such a successful loan spell at FC Twente, and I was just curious as to ask us to perhaps why you perhaps didn't take maybe another season in the top division in Holland, or was it maybe a mutual thing? Or
I think it was a difficult one at the time because obviously there was interest from the Championship clubs and I was living abroad, obviously in Holland. But obviously the time that I had there was fantastic, But then as soon as a couple of Championship clubs were interested, I thought, if I go back abroad again and do well again, my next progression would be the Championship, or that's what I would want. So I thought would maybe try and get in earlier, and obviously this season, but obviously it hasn't really worked out as well as I hoped. But I think that the important thing for me is that I don't really dwell on it. I'm still kind of young, so in hindsight, it'd be good to say, I don't think FC Twente was an option in last summer, but maybe going abroad again wouldn't have been the worst shout, and that's something that I'm still open to in the future.
Do you talk to Rabbi and sort of Ethan much about the experience that they're having in the Bundesliga? I know obviously you've been to Holland, which is close, but I think that's where all the younger footballers are tending to go now is over to the Bundesliga. Has that thought crossed your mind? Have they said much about their personal experience on it?
Yeah, when Rabbi joined, I think it was around the same time that I was in Holland. So we spoke in great depth about what it's like living in a different country, and the thing with Rabbi is he loves playing football. So I think he's gone to obviously Schalke and he's been given first team opportunities, which is great. I think it is tough. It's the first, what I found with my personal preference, like my personal thing, was the first 5 months you're just living on adrenaline. It was a new club, new country, and it's like, wow, like I'm playing every week, this is amazing. And then you get after Christmas, and then for me it was just like it became more difficult living abroad. But because I was playing every week, it was like, what, this is totally worth it. I'd do this all the time.
Yeah.
On the flip side, if I was out there and not playing, it would have been a lot tougher than it was, because even though it's your family's only really an hour away, you still got from Enschede, you've got to drive to the airport in Amsterdam, which is an hour and a half, and then obviously get on the plane and fly back. So it was a difficult, but I wouldn't have changed my time there for anything. And as I said, I wouldn't be scared of going back abroad again.
Yeah, you were. Correct me if I'm wrong. Was it 18 at the time when you went out to Holland? So it's a massive gamble, obviously, at that stage in your career, so young. So it's a lot of respect for doing that. And like we mentioned, Jadon Sancho was at City, and obviously he went out over to Bundesliga like the other guys as well. Obviously, you kind of answered part of the question I was going to ask about adapting to moving to another country so early on. What would you say was perhaps the most difficult thing to transition to? Did they sort of speak much English over there, or did you end up taking language lessons, or was it maybe not necessary?
Well, as soon as I got there, I had a meeting with them, and we spoke about and the manager at the time said he was speaking English for everyone. It was difficult because there was a lot of it was Spanish lads. We had a Uruguayan lad. There's loads of different nationalities, so it helped me massively that the manager chose to speak in English.
Yeah.
And it was just getting used to just different lifestyles, you know, different food. In Holland, they ride a lot of bikes, so it was, you know, I was driving into training, there'd hardly be any cars on the road, it would just be people on bikes. So I think it was a great experience for me. Obviously, at a young age, I left home to go up to Manchester when I was 14. We don't realise how much different it is moving abroad. Obviously, I was 18, so it was tough, but I think I adapted pretty quickly, and you know, I had a really good connection with the fans, which helped massively.
Do you think we take that for granted a little bit? Sorry, Becky. Do you think we take that for granted a little bit in this country? Because you see a lot of young lads, obviously you being in the Man City Academy, there would have been foreign lads in there. And there's so much pressure on them to adapt really quickly. You know, they get thrown in and they're like, oh, well, 1 or 2 bad games, you know, Twitter, everybody's a manager, right? Us included, so to speak. And they get slated. Do you think sometimes we're a little too quick to write people off, especially foreign youngsters that come to this country?
Yeah, 'cause I think when I was at City before I joined, you know, when there's obviously a lot of foreign lads coming in, and you know, there's some that come from Argentina and really far away, you know, it's not. And I thought about it afterwards, and I thought, you know what, like if I was in that situation again, where you know we have a lad coming from the other side of the world, I think my interpretation of how I'd treat him would be different after experiencing only living an hour away by plane. You know, a few of these lads were living, you know, 11 hours away from home, and the time difference for them was their family would be asleep when we're, you know, in the day. And I think that kind of taught me a lesson where, you know, because as soon as I went into FC Twente, everyone was so welcoming. You know, I remember my first day, I went to watch a pre-season friendly. The captain offered himself to drive me there with him.
Great. Yeah, that's great.
That's what I mean by the people in the club, and the club itself they're really fantastic, you know, and I can't praise them highly enough because they're great people.
Yeah, no doubt. Out of curiosity, because I was actually trying to do a bit of research, who was in that Man City youth team with you? Who were the standouts?
We had obviously Phil Foden.
Oh, footballer.
Yeah. We had Sancho as well.
Sancho, yeah, bro. That's some team already.
Yeah, we had a decent team. We had Lucas Nemecha, who's on loan at Middlesbrough now.
Was Brahim Diaz in that side as well?
Yeah, they were in our first youth cup team. It obviously Brahim and Lucas and Nemecha was the year older, but they still played with us.
Yeah.
So yeah, we had a decent team, but I remember we went to Chelsea in the final. We got absolutely battered, and they had Hudson-Odoi. You know, they had Mason Mount. They had some really top quality players.
Yeah,
some names there, yeah.
Oh, bro, that's a list. That's a serious list. Who do you think when you were playing in that team? Obviously, Sancho would have been one of the standouts, but was there one particular name that you thought would be, okay, this guy's going to be something special?
I think the first time I joined City, it was, you know, talk about Phil Foden, and he, you know, as soon as you went to City, you know, he was the one that everyone just had a thing that they thought he could be the one to break into the first team.
Yeah.
You know, but you know, and fair play to him, he's done it. You know, it's not easy to do what he's done to break in that team, and obviously he's still waiting for maybe more opportunities. But I feel like they'll come to him because you know what Pep thinks of him and stuff, and you know the talent is, you know, you could be really talented and you won't get to play for Man City, and I think that's sometimes people got to realise that it's not gonna be that pathway. Maybe you got to go different.
I got you. It's not that black and white. Yeah. I got you.
I was going to say, Matt. Obviously, you recently signed, is it a 4-year contract with City?
Yep.
So is that sort of a route that you maybe more as a long-term goal, try and see yourself still trying to crack, you know, into that sort of City team at all, or?
I think it's the dream obviously it's the dream to do that, and that's obviously why I signed the long deal at City. It was, you know, to have that dream of playing for Man City, you know. But then, you know, I said last year when I was at FC Twente, I said, you know, it's not an easy thing to do, you know, and I said to myself, if that doesn't happen, I can't let it affect where I want to go.
Yeah.
You know, so I think that's the ultimate goal. But if I don't make that goal, I don't think that's.
Yeah.
If I do make that goal, it's amazing. If I don't make that goal, a lot of people don't make it. You know what I mean? In terms of that Man City team. So I think I've just got to be realistic with my goals, and I just at the end of the day, I just want to be playing football and enjoying it, and I think that's the most important thing.
Yeah. With regards to Man City, then obviously, the management over there is an amazing team that they've got there. What experience have you got of being coached by Pep Guardiola, and how does it sort of change? How does it differ from the lesser experienced managers in the game, and certainly English managers like Lee Bowyer and Ryan Giggs?
I remember we had a training session with the first team. It was after a game, so it was like the lads that didn't play and stuff, and it was just the aura about him is, he walked onto the training field, he's there, his intensity was fantastic, and and I think one thing that I noticed is how much Mikel Arteta had so much of the same sort of the way he was and his intensity. They just want to improve players, and I think that it was, for me, that even in that one training session, it was just amazing to see how passionate he is about, because most managers, the day after a game, it would be the players that don't play. There's some managers that wouldn't even go out, to watch them. So I think for him to come out with loads of young lads, and it just shows, how passionate he is to making everyone better at the football club. That's including the players and the staff. Everyone. He just wants to get people better.
Yeah, it's interesting you mentioned Arteta, actually. What did you think of the Arsenal move? Do you think that's the right one for him?
It's difficult, because he hasn't really got any of that experience. But when I was training with the first team, you could see that he could easily do a manager role, and he's passionate about football. And I remember watching him as a player. He was technical, but he also had a bit of fight in him, and I think that's amazing for any manager. And I think it's exciting that City have now got to go through a bit of a different period without Arteta, and obviously Arsenal fans get the chance to have him.
I think in that Arsenal team, there's a lot of youngsters, youth players, and people breaking into the team now who badly need direction. I mean, you look at them under Unai Emery, and they just looked lost. They didn't know when their game time was going to come. There didn't seem to be any sort of consistency with what he was trying to do. So it's good that they've got someone, in your opinion, I guess, who's going to help them improve. Sort of, how does that sort of continental approach differ from sort of Lee Bowyer at Charlton or Ryan Giggs at Wales on an international camp?
I think with every manager, I think every manager is a bit different, and you get different styles. Obviously, like when I was in Holland, he was from Bosnia, so he was very, he was passionate and loved to fight, and really loved that. And then I went to QPR, and Mark Warburton had a bit of a different approach with it. He was more behind and watched. He wasn't as hands on. And then obviously with the gaffer at Charlton, he's been fantastic. He's helped me massively, because he's another one that just wants to see people improve. And that's, as a young player like I am, going into that environment, not really playing at QPR, to go into a manager that's, after the first day, he's already helping me with extra stuff and things like that. That's amazing. And with the gaffer at Wales, it's I can't say how much he's done for me, in terms of giving me a chance, and talking to me about situations and just helping me. To obviously for him to have that experience in the game is someone that you got to idolise, and I can't thank him enough for things that he, giving me my first cap and just trusting in me, because I think at the time I was in the 23s with City, and he just, we had a training session, and he just trusted in me, and it was amazing.
Yeah. Going back to obviously yourself, I seen on your IG you got the Puma sponsorship. Congratulations on that as well. Were there various different brands after you, or was it just Puma, so to speak?
I think obviously before that I was with another brand, and then I joined Puma because I like the Puma boots. So I kind of feel that Puma are the right way, and I think they're a growing brand more than ever now. So I think it was a great opportunity for me to join, and there's a lot of players doing the same thing now, and I think it's they've been great to me, and I really enjoy obviously them backing me.
We did a podcast the other day with a YouTuber called DKM. He's primarily like basketball, but he does a bit of football as well. And we were talking about Puma and sort of their influence in sport. And it's interesting that they signed up, somebody up and coming like yourself. I saw the other day, I think Raheem Sterling they're talking about a 100 million deal for him. I see also you're big into basketball as well. So you follow quite a few on IG. Have you seen Ball in the Family, the TV show?
No, but my little brother, he loves the Ball family so much. I talk to him about basketball and just bring it back to Lonzo and people like that. So I've watched that, but he's a massive Ball fan.
That's a good lockdown watch, bro. If you're bored and you want to watch something, it's about 3 series, and obviously LeVar, Lonzo, Jello, LaMelo. LaMelo, I think he's tipped to be number 1 in the draft, or around number 1 in the draft. And he's another one again. Yeah, they're on about a Puma deal for him. We're about 100 million plus a jet. So when it's time for you to renegotiate with Puma, bro, he can slam dunk, but he ain't controlling the midfield like you do. And so feel free to ask for a little bit more on top. But it seems to be the one, bro. Like, I think it's a really smart choice with Puma. Obviously, Jay-Z is creative director as well. So that sort of younger audience they're trying to build towards. So for you to be a part of that, bro, I think you're onto something special. Going back, obviously, to your IG as well. Is it your own clothing line that's coming out now?
No, that was one of my mates.
Okay.
That's obviously I know that he delayed it for a little bit longer due to obviously this pandemic and stuff. So, that's one of my mates' things. I said I'll help him out with it, and I'll have some influence in it. But that's something that he wants to do, and it's quite like being I like getting involved with things, and I like seeing the people around me do things that they enjoy. So it was important for me.
Yeah, no, it's good, bro, that you can use your influence to help other people and also have another creative outlet, I suppose. I mean, I don't know if you're going to model or you're going to design, do you know what I mean? Or whatever you feel best. But no, it's good, bro, that you're putting on for other people as well. That's a special thing to do, because a lot of people in your position, they're so one-track mind. So for example, you look at like someone like a Michael Jordan in the Last Dance. It's basketball, non-stop. There's nothing outside of that. So no, it's good, bro, that you've got other outlets, because the pressure, when it builds, it really does build. So I'm glad you're doing other things.
Yeah, Matt, obviously you mentioned just now about Ryan Giggs giving you your chance with Wales. How was it to make your debut for Wales, and do you think you can hold that space down and make it your own?
Yeah, it was a bit of a surprise. I went to I think there was an injury for a training session or something with it was the lads that he wasn't sure about going to LA, and there was an injury, so I got drafted in, and just had a really good few days training, and then I remember on the way home he said that you find out if you're in the squad in a day or so. And I was on the way home from the camp, and at the time my manager at Man City, the under-23s manager, Simon Davis, rang me, and he was like, congratulations, you deserve it. And I was a bit like, what's going on? I didn't know. And he said, you don't know, do you? And I said, no. And he said, I'd be expecting a phone call. And then later that evening, I got the call that I was going to America with the first team, and it was just amazing. It wasn't expected. I was expecting to go to this camp and go to. I think we had a few 21s game. I think in Albania, I think it was, and yes, it was an amazing experience for me, and it was just fantastic.
Yeah. Would you say that that would be like the career highlight for you then, Matt, or would you say it would be maybe the title win over in Holland, or what sort of been your favourite or best moment so far?
I think my favourite would probably be the debut, because as I said, it come at a time that really needed it. I think that helped me get the success and the loan move with maybe FC Twente. So that's probably the most proud I've ever been walking onto a football pitch, because it was one of them. I think there was about 10 minutes to go, and he told me to get ready and stuff, and it was just like you almost forget that what you're doing, and it was just amazing.
It's nice that obviously it feels like all that hard work that you've put in has kind of paid off. Getting the first cap as well. So obviously we mentioned a few managers, Arteta, Guardiola, Giggs, Bowyer, and as we all know, one thing they've kind of all got in common is they could all play.
Mm-hmm.
So I was just curious if you've seen any of them knocking a football around the training ground at all, see if any of them have showed off any moves.
I reckon you could take Guardiola, bro. I reckon you got him. 1-on-1, I think you got him.
To be fair, Arteta and Pep, I didn't really see much of. Obviously, as the players, they're fantastic players. So I know obviously the gaffer now at Charlton was a really good player. I remember watching him when I was younger as well. And I think going into an environment where the manager has had such a good career or has done some great things in the game, it's almost like an extra, like you're almost in awe. It's like, I just want to be, what you want to have. I want to have a great career, and then I want to be a manager, so you're almost like trying to go back and see how they did and really just ask questions and learn as much as you can. I think it's difficult to go in, I remember when I was 18, I was going into a first team environment and I was a bit like, I don't really know how to speak. And now I think coming back to England, it's more open. You can have conversations with the gaffer and, and just learn and take things in every day. I think that's important for my age.
Did you have any sort of particular idol as a player when you were younger, Matt? Anyone you like maybe modelled your game on or
I think I had two main ones. Obviously, I always wanted to be a midfielder. So for me, it was Steven Gerrard, who I wanted to be like. And then the other one is Fabio Cannavaro from Italy. I just like the fact how he did things, and I remember just thinking that's why I kind of think that has made me quite passionate about the defensive side of the game as well as, how he did things and stuff. So they were the two main ones for me, but I think you can't look past the Messis, everyone, you want to be like that, but I think you got to be realistic in who you look at and who you analyse the most, because what Messi and Ronaldo do is freakish. So I think, it's great to watch them and adore what they do, but I think to analyse, you go to be your position and things that you feel like you can improve on.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Yeah. And do you have sort of, obviously you've got idols, do you have rivals in the game? So like if you're looking to make that Wales spot your own, I mean, we're looking at Joe Allen here, but he's sort of tailing off his career. I mean, would you look at people like Joe Morrell or Ethan Ampadu as people who you would personally have a rivalry against, or does it not work like that?
I don't, I think the good thing about the Welsh setup is, I don't think there's any massive rivalries. I think that's why we've done so well. With it, obviously there's been times where there's been injuries or a few of us ain't playing, and then the other person has fitted in. So I think we have a good balance, in terms of we know what the people can do, and it's just one of them. I knew when I was going to the last few games against Croatia at home and things like that, I knew that I probably wasn't gonna be involved because I had no minutes. I think you don't realise how important it is to have minutes going into an international game. So I think that's one of them things that it's massively important for me, that you just want to be playing, because if you're playing games, that they can't say, well, you're not got the minutes, so.
It must be confusing though, because obviously you look at some players in the squad perhaps not getting much game time and then still being involved. I mean, obviously it's probably different being younger, because obviously people like Ashley Williams, who haven't been heavily involved for their clubs over the last 18 months. Ben Davies would be another one. But obviously these are established internationals, I guess, so it probably doesn't work, like that so much at your age. Have they sort of got an aura about them? Do you sort of use them as a massive learning opportunity?
Yeah, I think all the senior lads with Wales, I think they're great people. I think that's important. They help the young lads. I think Ash Williams has been a real help to me since I've come to obviously started getting in the camps and stuff. And he's obviously he's from not far where I'm from, and I think we just have a good connection. He just helps me with things, football and other things. I kind of look up to him, and he tells me things because, at the end of the day, he's been there and done it. So it's a lot, like Ben Davis, as you said, he's almost like the perfect professional, and that's someone that you look up to. And it's the same with all the senior lads, that the help that they put to the young lads is amazing. And I think that's why there's such a good blend of the older lads and then the younger players, because I think the older lads accept the younger lads, and it just makes a very good dressing room atmosphere, I feel.
And something I'm interested as well, with the older lads, they kind of all come through together, and they've been on this trip from some management under Gary Speed all the way through to obviously the Euros in 2016. Did you find there was sort of an old boys group in the squad, and then there was a younger boys group, or did they sort of try and incorporate you guys into their sort of? Because you do see things online about them having competitions or golf or things like that. Do they just bring you into that, or? I
think there's a line. You don't want to try and get too involved. Obviously they'll have that group of they know what the lads in that group like and what they do in their spare time, and we the younger lads like me, Ethan, Rabbi, Ben, Tyler Roberts, we all have been playing together since we were about 14, so I think we're on an earlier stage of that rise, so I think it's good that we have loads of different groups, but I think in general I think we have good camaraderie within the group, and it's just great. And I think that the main thing is I think people enjoy it, going away with Wales. It's really good, and we trust in each other, and we believe that we'll get wins, and I think that's important.
Cool. All right, lads. Anything else you want to bring up?
It was a fantastic qualifying campaign, and how far do you think that you'll go next summer? Obviously, you've got the group now.
I think, we've seen it before, haven't we? That what Wales can do. So, we believe we can do as well as we can. And I think that how well we did in the last one, I think it just adds a bit. I think I've said it before that the lads that've been there want to do it again, and the lads that weren't there want to be part of that. So I think I think we've got a great opportunity, and obviously it's something that everyone will be looking forward to.
Yeah. The last kind of question I don't know if you had any others, Reece, but it's something that obviously I would like to ask, or will be asking sort of any footballer we get the chance to speak with, is to pick your best five-a-side team made up of the best players that you've played with.
Okay.
Obviously with like a goalkeeper, one defender, two midfielders, and a striker, perhaps. But make your own formation up, of course. But what would your best five-a-side team be out of people you've played with, even if it's just in training or?
You can have Jadon Sancho as a rush keeper as well, bro. So if you want to put him in, that's fine. That's okay.
I think we'll go goalie. I think Wayne Hennessy.
Oh yeah.
He's a top quality goalkeeper. So what? One defender, two midfielders.
But you can make your own formation if you want, but that's sort of the popular one is the one defender, two midfielders, and the forward man.
I think I'd go centre back. Ooh, probably go with the experienced Ash.
Yeah.
Then I'd go two midfielders. I'd go Phil Foden.
Shout.
Yeah, and then I played with Gundogan.
All right.
In the 23s game, he was unbelievable.
Oh really?
Yeah.
That's a good shout. Good shout. Strong so far.
And then up front, Baylor.
Yeah.
Has to be.
I don't think any of us will argue with that one at all.
Yeah, I was going to say something if he wasn't in the team. Like,
You got any persons that might make your bench, like a Ramsey or any other City lads at all? Or?
Yeah, I think Ramsey, you know, he could easily be in that team as well. I think if I've been lucky so far, you know, the talent that I've played with is amazing, and I think just learning from them sort of players is, you know, the way they do things in training, it's amazing, really.
Wouldn't be a bad five-a-side team that would have Hennessy, Williams, Foden, Gundogan and Bale.
Yeah,
we would have a chance, boys, would it? Our five-a-side team would be battered by that.
I think it would play or released on Bale off the park, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good side. So, you got anything else you want to bring up before we let Matt go?
No, I'm all right, Matt. But thanks for coming on, mate.
Yeah, appreciate that, Matt.
No worries.
Yeah, we appreciate it, Matt. Much appreciated, mate. So everybody add us up on the socials. Add up Matt on Twitter and IG. Obviously, like the video, subscribe to the channel. This is B&B Podcast. We are out. We'll be back next time, people. Take care. Ciao.